If true, this changes everything, as we saw the Phoenix Suns have a disastrous performance yesterday with Bradley Beal not really stepping up for this team. And with rumors circulating that the Suns star could be willing to waive his no trade clause to go somewhere else, possibly could this be the spark of those trade rumors really getting together for the Suns to ultimately pursue Jimmy Butler and finally get the guy that they want? We'll be breaking and looking at all of this and more on this episode of Suns Digest. I am Bruce Velez, and you guys have been absolutely fantastic showing your love and support on the channel these last couple weeks, and we really do appreciate it. But we do want to let you guys know that right around 80% of you guys who watch these videos are non-subscribed still, and we just hit our goal of 2,000 subscribers. So if you want to make sure you stay up to date on everything revolving around this Phoenix Suns team, not just the trade rumors revolving around this team, but updates around the actual team, looking at players in depth, going over weekly live streams, and going over post-game videos. We have all of that covered here for you on Suns Digest. So if you want to stay a part of the community, hit that subscribe button and join the thousands of others as well. But without further ado, let's dive in and let's get into the content. Make sure to grab that snack. And like I said in the introduction, this would change everything for the Phoenix Suns if they were able to get rid of Bradley Beal, as we have been knowing that ever since they have benched Bradley Beal and have been interested in Jimmy Butler, that this Suns team has been wanting to make a massive shakeup. But with the roadblocks of obviously the Miami Heat not wanting Bradley Beal having a no trade clause, and ultimately trying to find a package that Miami will accept for Jimmy Butler, it has been very difficult for all sides across the league to be able to kind of agree of things. Also, with second apron, first apron restrictions, it also even makes it increasingly difficult to figure out what teams can even get involved, what players can be involved, and all of that jazz. But we do have some updates on the Bradley Beal front, as we have some news coming out from Real GM today, letting us know that Bradley Beal could be open to waiving some no trade clauses for the right team. And we're going to dive into this, looking at it in more detail, where it says that someone from The Athletic tells a source that Bradley Beal would consider waiving his no trade clause for the right destination. The Phoenix Suns have yet to approach Beal to gauge whether he would like a trade and what destination he would find acceptable. As we all know, Beal has been saying for the last couple weeks that he holds all the cards. If he was going to get traded, he would know about it, yada, yada, yada. We all know that this discussion has been going on, and ultimately the Suns still have yet to be able to approach him. Beal was never approached by the Washington Wizards about a trade in 2023, as it was the request from their new front office. Beal has told people close to him that he won't propose an exit from the Suns if they never ask him to waive his no-trade clause. While Beal was on the trade block in 2023, leaving the Wizards, he had multiple teams like the Suns, Heat, Warriors, and Kings on his list, but if Beal were to be traded now, winning would be his first priority, as Beal has $160 million over this season and 2 more on his contract remaining. The Suns have been making trade calls on both Beal and Yusuf Nurkic, who are both moved out of the starting lineup and to the bench. And we've known that the Suns have been trying to do that for the last couple weeks now, and we kind of broke this down in our recent video as well, kind of looking how Brian Windhorst obviously has been hyping up the fact that Jimmy Butler still wants to go to Phoenix, and Phoenix is Jimmy Butler's still number one destination, and Phoenix still wants Jimmy. And we all know Suns fans, including myself, were very frustrated with the performance yesterday. And if we look at this tweet from Brandon Clean, courtesy of Locked On Phoenix Suns, we can obviously see that he himself feels this way as well, as we saw Bradley Beal going to approach the game in a lackadaisical way, not really trying, not giving his best effort, not wanting to win. I'm not sure why he wouldn't just waive his no trade clause tomorrow. And Brandon, we might have gotten just a little bit of a leak to that as well, kind of diving into it a little bit more, which I think is good for this Suns team, like I mentioned. Ultimately, I do think that a move is going to be needed. I don't necessarily know if it's the Jimmy Butler splash, but there are multiple moves that have to be made, plus this Jimmy Butler splash, that are going to change this team's entire direction. They still need some other filler pieces. They don't have that athletic rebounding wing that many fans in the comment section really want them to get, including myself, and we don't even have any projection of them getting that. But there are multiple guys on this roster, guys like Tyus Jones, Monte Morris, Grayson Allen, Mason Plumlee, that this team might have to either waive or trade to get draft capital or get other players to fill in roles for this team. What this Suns team, like I've mentioned, they have some restrictions as they are in the second apron, which is definitely limiting them from doing stuff. But I still believe that they'll want to push out Bradley Beal and still try to figure a way to get Jimmy Butler into Phoenix, as Ishbia still wants to give him the money, and obviously Jimmy Butler wants that money. No other team is willing to give him that money. So that's why he wants to come to Phoenix so much. And I want to know your thoughts down below in the comment section. I want to know if you guys think this is actually going to get done, or do you think the Suns will be stuck with Bradley Beal at the end of the trade deadline? I think that is eventually going to pick up and that they eventually will move off Bradley Beal. Beal is still solid. We have seen him put up solid and great numbers for this Suns team on the bench, sometimes even being the leading scorer in some games and winning the games for the Phoenix Suns off the bench. So that is something to look at, and he could be a vital piece for a team as a third option on a championship contender. Obviously, the big outlier is that $50 million contract, but if you can find a fit where Bradley Beal can be a catch and shoot scorer for a team that doesn't necessarily have that all-out player already, then I truly believe that he could be a nice complementary or secondary fit. Or if they have, some better defensive pieces in the front court around their team, then he could be a better fit as well. But we're going to look at a possibility of a team that could be interested in Bradley Beal as well, because that has been also kind of coming through the cracks as well. As you can see, how would the Phoenix Suns get this done? How would they be able to get a player off Bradley Beal off their team? And like I mentioned, we obviously know the Miami Heat don't want Bradley Beal, so Beal will not be going to Miami. Beal will be going to a third team, but will even Miami want what the third team is willing to offer? If it's a team like Detroit, or if it's another team towards the bottom of the pack, will they take what they are giving up? I don't necessarily know. So will they have to involve a fourth team? That could even complicate more things. But there is one team that could possibly be interested in Bradley Beal, as we see from Real GM once again that the Bucks may have interest in trading for Bradley Beal. Now, for the Bucks, obviously, this would result in them most likely getting rid of a player in Chris Middleton and Bobby Portis, two players that, haven't been performing for the Bucks as well as they would like this season, and they are kind of expendable contracts. Beal would be obviously replacing Middleton as that third scorer, a little bit smaller in size compared to Middleton, would be playing in that shooting guard position, but having Bradley Beal, Damian Lillard, and Giannis Antetokounmpo, two scorers and shooters on the edges for Giannis to kick out, could be a better situation for Beal and for the Bucks if they feel that Beal is a better player at this moment than a player in Chris Middleton, in my eyes. I also believe that Bobby Portis could also be sent out, and maybe a team like Miami would take the remains of Chris Middleton and or Bobby Portis. But if not, and they don't even want a player in Chris Middleton and Bobby Portis, then they might have to find a fourth team. Ultimately, I think Miami should pursue a guy in Brandon Ingram. I know he's been hurt, but I think he could fill in for that role for the Miami Heat and replacing Jimmy Butler as a younger wing for their team. Maybe not as great defensively, but can still provide offensively, fits their timeline a little bit, and they could be willing to give him that extension if they wanted to next season. Then I think obviously the Pelicans could get the remains from the Milwaukee Bucks here, Chris Middleton, Bobby Portis, or maybe even offload some of those guys to some future teams in future deals later down the line or even in the next season. The Suns obviously get Jimmy Butler, and the Bucks obviously would get a player in Bradley Beal. Now the Bucks still have to move off of player's contract in Pat Connaughton, but I want to know what you guys think of that possible little mock trade. I didn't have something pulled up because I didn't necessarily think about doing it, but I kind of thought of it on the fly, but I want to know your thoughts down below. Would you entertain possibly sending Bradley Beal to the Bucks, or do you think the Bucks would be making the same mistake that the Suns made with trying to team up Booker, Kevin Durant, and Bradley Beal by trading for Bradley Beal as well? Like I said, I want to know your thoughts down below in the comment section, so let me know what you guys ultimately think about this Bradley Beal mess. Like I said, I'm eventually thinking that Beal is going to push to get this no trade clause waived. He's not going to want to come off the bench for the rest of the season. And from how the Suns have seen this year go in fold in front of them, from really high highs of winning games, but super low lows of getting blown out, there is going to be a massive change with this roster at the trade deadline, and they will try to get something done, I believe. And if not, then ultimately some things may unfold in the offseason. But like I said, you guys have been absolutely fantastic showing your love and support for the channel. So let me know what you guys ultimately think, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Have a great rest of your day, and go Phoenix Suns. Peace out, everyone.